Welcome back everybody. Today we are testing the new Storm Nova. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. First impressions? Well, I'm actually not going to give you one. I'm going to hold back a bit so you can pay attention to the rest of the review. Alright, let's jump in. I think Storm was smart about what they did with this Nova. Let's just start with the big picture. We have a big hybrid ASIM. And here's the thing, let's think about the balls in arsenal slots like I always suggest. Storm has a very successful and versatile proton physics. The reality is quite similar in strength, if a little rounder, but also a great piece, and that's the strong defined slot. Then you have the successful Rotogrip RSTX1, which is a hybrid, so I would say a bit of a competitor potentially to the Nova. So you can technically put all three of those balls in the strong defined category. You could maybe let the RSTX1 lane shine and maybe use as a mid-defined. Surface finish ultimately will dictate where you might want to slot the ball. Now with the Nova, with its huge core and hybrid medium cover, could potentially go head-to-head with the RSTX1. So let's look at the ball reaction. The Nova is a very strong asymmetric core. These big tumbly cores want to get into a very early roll, and if they didn't put a medium strength cover on it, they might have turned it into like a 2000s Mo Rich ball or something. Those old enough will know what I mean. Anyway, the Nova is early and rolly, so it does prefer some volume, but it wasn't, I would say, totally ridiculous where it's unusable on the house shot. What I mean is that you can open up the angles a bit and get it to bite to make the turn. And I'd probably say it has a clear sweet spot for me around the third arrow, which is where there's enough oil up front. More direct leaves me with 7 pins every other ball, more or less. Just a little too strong, but get it to the sweet spot and boom, it looks really good. And as you get in, it starts to lose steam a little bit, but I would say, if anything, it prefers being in versus out. It's just a little too strong from direct, but maybe a touch too big a core to get super deep, unless you have big hand or slow it down. Bottom line is, it's not as strong as a proton physics or reality, but more chuggy and earlier than, say, an RSTX1. Now, looking at my two-handed style, with my rev dominant style, you might think this is going to be too much, but that bit of, I would say, chugginess I described earlier made it fairly easy for me to throw this ball two-handed. Yes, I was pretty deep, but that early roll meant good control and relative smoothness in the transition. So I just pushed it to the spot and it made a nice smooth transition. I did leave a couple of 6 pins, a couple of 10 pins, but overall I felt pretty comfortable throwing this ball two-handed. Final thoughts. I'm not sure I'm personally fond of the colors, but I guess the weird bubblegum swirl will catch somebody's eye. That said, the Nova's a pretty good ball, but where does it fit? I think it somehow straddles the line between strong defined and strong control, in some ways like the Omega Crux. It's certainly a touch less than the proton physics and the reality, but not like massively less. It's also not clean enough out of box to be, say, a mid-defined ball. For the average bowler, it's possible to creatively slot this as a strong defined minus, or even possibly a strong control. It's a little bit of a chameleon, which I think will make it an interesting option for Storm.